Hello, I'm Dan. I'm from Sodo Pizza.
Hi, I'm Alice from Growing Communities.
So, Alice, hello. How did you get here? Where are we?
We are at Dagenham Farm, part of Growing Communities in East London, and I got here somehow about 13 years ago now.
2012, was it?
Yeah, that's right.
Somehow you stumbled across us when we were opening the restaurant in Clapton. I think it was Sheila.
Exactly.
Said, do you want some salad? I was like, sure.
That's right. I'd recently arrived in London from West Wales due to my partner being an urban person, but I'm a farmer. And
that was Abereyron, right?
Yeah, Abereyron.
In a yurt.
Yeah, Abereyron. It was actually Cardigan in a yurt.
Cardigan in a yurt. Okay, in that neck of the woods.
Hence me finding an architect to marry.
Yeah.
And have a house.
Yeah.
But the compromise was moving to the city, and yeah, I was living and working on a 100-acre farm, and then working at Forest, very beautiful rural market gardens in West Wales. So arriving in London was a bit of a shock. Not my.
But you did a few other things as well, right? You worked on Hugh Fernley Whittingstall's farm.
That was before that. Yeah.
Yeah, doing his like.
Yeah, I was a grower at their place in Dorset.
Yeah. And then there was another farm you worked in the Cotswolds.
Yeah, I did a 2-year horticultural apprenticeship in Wall Garden in the Cotswolds, living
Swindon?
in a yurt near Swindon.
With Pete, the Steve Jobs of growing.
Exactly, Pete Richardson, a fantastic kind of like he's become one of like main knowledge sources on organic horticulture. And yeah, I did an apprenticeship with him for 2 years. So yeah, but yeah, so I ended up here, and then very fortunately in 2012, just after I had moved, I saw an advert for please come and looking for a farmer to turn our market garden.
How they lucked out on you.
Well,
I mean, that's very niche.
It was very niche, and I'm very lucky to find so much land in London, and especially
because what have we got here, like you said 1.7 acres or something?
Yeah, we got 1.7 acres, and this is Dagenham Council's old nursery site.
Yeah. So
not only is there a lot of land, there's also a lot of infrastructure that was already here. So we've got massive greenhouse that we're sitting in, and then 4 extra polytunnels, 4 more small greenhouses, and then the outdoor beds. So irrigation system, water tanks, it was all here. But the nursery was derelict, and the one thing that wasn't here, which I didn't realise on my job interview, was I assumed there'd be soil at least.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying in the early days you were at a hammer drill just digging up. I guess this room was just concrete, right?
That's right. So it was all 1.7 acres was pretty much covered in aggregates, so either gravel, sand or concrete.
Yeah.
And it was all covered in plastic, like sheeting to stop weeds. And I assumed when you peeled it back there would at least be some soil in a bad condition, but some soil, and there wasn't. There was a foot of aggregates or concrete. So the first year was an excavation situation where I first of all pneumatic drilled out the concrete in here and used it to build walls around the farm.
Yeah. And
then we dug out the gravel and sand, and here it was about 3 or 4 foot deep that we had to excavate on this bed. And this
so when you say they were growing, but they were growing above ground in just pots and
everything was in pots.
Yeah.
So also that's why the nursery couldn't afford to survive, which is a really sad thing. The council boroughs used to have in-house nurseries that used to provide municipal plants for putting around the borough, like cemeteries, parks, etc., schools. In fact, on the wall over there's all the old signs. But it became cheaper just to import all the plants from Holland and just outsource it all. And also part of that was because the water price and the energy price to heat this greenhouse was too expensive. And here I think they were spending £4,000 a quarter just to irrigate the plants, because it was all on mains. And everything was in pots, so they dry out really quickly. But if you have soil in the ground, and it's healthy soil, it can hold the water and be more sustainable.
What is the process in, you've got aggregate and concrete. What are you just jumping in compost from B&Q, or I mean, what's the mix, the process?
Well, we bought in huge amounts of green waste compost, which is the kind of stuff that's taken out of parks in the city.
Clippings, trees,
leaves,
mulch,
branches. It all is heavy metals tested. And we were given some of that for free, and then we also had to buy a lot of it, but literally 24-ton loads at a time.
Yeah.
And then we barrowed it. Everything was done by hand.
Yeah, and I imagine that kind of stuff, it looks like a lot, and then you put it down, you're like, oh,
exactly.
It's barely filled the hole.
Exactly. And at that point, we had some lottery funding just to do the setup. And then after 2 years, the deal was that I would have tried to make it viable. We're not for profit, but just rolling viable.
Yeah, was that
in
like
terms of the
2014, 2015? I remember you.
Yeah, sometime around then.
And that's about when you got your organic certification quite early, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We went straight into, I think after the first year, we went into conversion. And we also did soil tests. So we dug out all of the aggregates, and to the point where you'd find a subsoil, which is like this kind of very stony, silty layer. Here it's kind of silt at the very bottom, or clay. And then what you have to do is bring in organic matter in the form of compost to sort of bring it back to life and build a structure where there's oxygen for the microorganisms so they can survive and retain the moisture. And the other thing I did is I brought in some composted manure from an organic farm on the edge of London. So that was just to sort of stimulate the mix, and also we started making our own compost, but you don't get huge amounts of that, but I use that still as a sort of inoculant of microbial life, like our local microbial life, and I put that in holes when we're doing our main crop. So every time I plant something that's in the ground for a long time, like tomatoes or cucumbers, I'll put some of our compost in the ground when we're doing that main crop planting. And every year we top up with a bit of...
So I guess the idea is to create a habitat of microbes which kind of live together.
With diversity. And
rather than having to put fertiliser on it.
Exactly.
Which is like chemically created, which will basically
so most,
sterilise everything and kill everything else.
Yeah, there's like different approaches, but the organic approach, you maintain fertility through using organic matter, whether that's compost or through using plants to put in different nutrients or hold different nutrients in the soil.
Like fixers.
Exactly, fixers or holders.
Yeah.
Some amazing plants in the bean family can actually fix nitrogen from the air into the soil. But most agriculture now relies on chemical, like man-made nitrogen, which is very energy hungry to produce it and water hungry. So resource heavy in its production. So
this is like big commercial farms, spray, but also the amount of that nitrogen that actually gets fixed into the soil is a small percentage compared to how much you put on it.
It works really well, but there's side effects. So it's water soluble. It's sprayed on.
Yeah.
And because it's water soluble, it's not held very well in the soil, as you say. And then a lot of it gets washed off in the rain, and then that causes problems in the rivers. It causes something called eutrophication, so you get like plant blooms, and that takes up all the oxygen and kills the
fish.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's happened in like the River Wye is a classic example, because there's so much nitrogen from the chicken farms that's been from the heaps of their excrement, basically. I think running off into the rivers. But it's also just from nitrogen being sprayed on fields. And
so what are you growing here then? Because you've got a book, which is an amazing book.
Thank you.
It's the idea of, I guess, to start with 10 simple vegetables. Like, what can you grow that produces a lot, that's easy to grow?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of regret the title because...
I think that bit had to be there, was it? The do bit.
Yeah, the simple bit, I don't think that was quite the right...
It's not so simple.
It's not so simple, although...
Great pictures.
In a way, I think it gets over-expertised a lot of the time. Almost people want to protect the knowledge. Which... the base, it's very complex, like all the relationships, like when you get into like the soil science and the connections between the plants and the fungi and the whole system, it's really complex, and I'm still learning. But the basics of like putting a seed in to the right type of compost at the right time of year, it's pretty straightforward. If you give them like the basic things, seeds want to grow. So
I feel like it's
pretty
when you're doing it this way, it's like if you're doing it, what do they call it? Conventional farming.
Yeah.
There's a scientific approach.
Yeah.
But it's learnt.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, although very complex, it's almost intuitive. It's like
a lot of
the more life, the better.
Yeah, the more diversity, the better. And I'm kind of witnessing it here, 13 years in. We haven't dug the soil very much. So no-till,
as they say.
Yeah, no-till.
Which is like a recent thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bizarre.
There's lots of terms, and I feel people like to classify things, and which is reasonable, I suppose, in terms of like trying to simplify, but there's so many terms now, it's quite confusing. And lots of these methods have great environmental benefits, but people are quite absolute about, no-till, or organic or regen or whatever, and or permaculture. People go down certain routes, and we use Permaculture is like a sort of systems approach, using different plants in a system to benefit each other, and looking at the
companion plants and
things like that, forest gardens, and they've all got lots of virtues. And here we do lots of parts of lots of those things, but the one thing we do, we don't like, I'm really kind of passionate about, is the organic bit.
Yeah.
Because it means that it's actually regulated, and we're certified, which means that someone comes in here and checks how we're farming, and it's about what we don't do, and it's a legal term, so you can't say organic if you're not certified.
Yeah.
And basically what we don't do is use herbicides or pesticides, which pollute the environment and kill off insect life, which is in dire straits at the moment. And also we don't use man-made nitrogen fertilizer.
The fixers, the beans and the clover.
We use plants, and we use
Would sorrel a nitrogen fixer?
Yeah, I think it's in that family. Yeah,
I planted some in my garden, and it's just gone wild.
Yeah,
it's tasty.
We didn't plant that up, so some would say it's a weed.
Yeah, I just put a few seeds in, and the entire place is covered in it.
Yeah,
which is great. But we do pizzas, and it kind of goes well with fish and stuff. And you're like, we haven't really found a use for it yet, but it's fixing the soil beautifully.
I'm still trying to find the use for some of our lovely weeds.
Yeah,
nettles, delicious on a pizza.
I was only the other day having nettle soup somebody'd made. It was delicious. Yeah, it's lots of nutmeg in it.
And a really good cleanser, and one of the best plants for butterflies, I found out recently. Lots of
really?
Caterpillars. And, the plants we tend to really hate because they seem messy or they sting us. Often are the ones best for nature. So brambles.
Brambles, and also we hate wasps, but they eat all the aphids.
And they're amazing at pollinating.
I mean, they'll get in your beer in the middle of summer and piss you off, but
exactly.
If you've ever seen your plant be ravaged by aphids and ants farming them, you're like, I will do anything to get rid of these things.
I know.
It's a real dismal sight.
We need them all, and even flies. I found out yesterday are one of the best pollinators. I work in a school one day a week, and we were doing pollination yesterday, and all the children were like enacting different insects, which was,
because in our Deptford branch we've got a bit of a garden there, and I've tried to make it food foresty, which is way off. It's just kind of like poor man's, or just the uneducated man's kind of version, just trying to put things and just works together. And then last year we got ravaged by aphids. There was ants farming aphids. All the berry plants, all the nasturtiums were just destroyed. So I was Googling it, and I was like, okay, you've got to wash them with soap. So I tried that a few times, and I'm like, that's quite a quick growing plant, so I never, no chance. And then somebody said, buy some ladybirds.
Yes.
So this year I bought a load of ladybirds.
And plant some coriander and some anything from that family, because ladybirds love it. Ladybird larvae, and let it go to seed, and then you'll get the ladybirds.
Trying to create that stasis of like multiple things working together.
Habitats for the predators, and not just for the pests.
Because I feel it's like
that's food, having different plants.
When you start spraying, you create more of a problem because you don't have that balance.
You're going with a different mindset. It's like a lab, and you want to expel everything. Where we're the exact opposite. We're trying to create complete diversity.
Yeah.
So there's a balance. That's the sort of overall
get rid of pests through strength of the plants that you want, rather than weakening the pest.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of our food is now coming from Spain, and they are literally the greenhouses are like labs. Like you can't bring in any dirt or diseases, because everything's so vulnerable, because the plants are quite weak, and there's no diversity in there. So, and it's
as soon as it's contaminated,
exactly
the whole lot goes. Kind of like the whole of Ireland during the potato famine. It's like you've got one thing, one pest destroys
You're not
everything.
very resilient, but it works very well, but it's also very unresilient to pests and things like that, so shocks, and also it's very polluting for the environment. Not very sustainable as a system as a whole.
I guess the question is it possible to feed as many people as you have without using those methods? I mean, are we just not trying? Is it just not commercially viable? Is it?
I
is
can't
it possible?
remember the stats, but still most of the world's food is produced by small-scale subsistence farmers, which is, I need to recheck that, but that always like astounds me when you think about, just the potential of that. And I think we need a variety of types of and scales of farming, but we cannot be keeping on going using the current methods because we're running out of our topsoil. And
which we don't maintain. We just spray and then fertilise and spray and fertilise and spray and fertilise.
And there's less and less harvest left available to us if we do that.
They always say that it's like 50 harvests left.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, we'll stop doing what you're doing then.
Yeah, and also the water use. If you don't put in organic matter to the soil, it can't retain water as well, and you use a lot more water. And that's also something that's going to become more and more scarce in certain parts of the world, like the southeast of England. So we've got to at least try, because the current method, we're heading for a disaster, and also the finite resources we're relying on at the moment, so NPK to do our like general conventional agriculture, a lot of the resources to produce the nitrogen, the phosphorus, they're running low. Like all the systems to produce them are running out of greenhouse, are running out of oil or gas. And so at some point we have to have a shift. We might not be able to have as much food and as much variety, but we could.
Can we have more variety? Because we have this thing of like we just eat certain things, and we just like, right, we're going to take 1,000 acres and we're going to have this one genetically identical crop which will
absolutely
grow.
That's true. Although we probably won't be able to have this kind of year-round variety that we get.
But we shouldn't be eating asparagus in January.
No, that just the energy it
strawberries
requires
in November.
to produce those things year-round in our supermarkets. From the like air freight and
I think that's an Anglo thing. You go to Italy, they don't really have that as much. In certain other nations, it's like you eat with the seasons, and you celebrate that part of the season by having lots of that, and then it's gone. Then
and
you eat
often,
the next thing.
like in places like France or Italy, you get on the market stalls, you'll get someone with a tiny amount of stuff, and it's often the more expensive stuff, and it looks a bit kind of gnarly. But that will be the thing in season from the very small producer who like specialises in something, and often it's the most delicious.
And it's like a little culture around celebrating that part of the year.
And that's where you get lots of diversity in terms of your diet, like different types of fruit. Like the supermarket now has to rely on things that can handle the regime. So variety-wise, they just go with what can store well, travel well, look uniform. So our diversity and variety has gone down.
Those are the two big words,
Exactly. So in terms of varieties of what we eat, absolutely. Like the current system, it's kind of diminishing what we eat.
Yeah, you go to the shop. How many apples are there? And you go to the shop, there's 3.
And our salad alone has over the year, at least 50 different plants in it.
I love how it changes through the year, because it's been our salad since day dot. And all we do is a bit of olive oil, balsamic, salt and pepper, and that's it.
Exactly,
and the winter months are the best.
The winter months are the best.
Like hardy, like peppery.
I love the peppery.
Summer gets a bit more salady and light, which is fine.
I'm with you. And I feel like in winter you need those strong flavours. I'm sure that like your immune system is craving things like the bitters are really good for you. And they grow in the colder months, and I think your body needs them. And there's the new research about you should eat 30 different types of plants a week. So I reckon
excuse me.
New research that you should, for your gut and for your overall health, you should try and have 30 plants a week. So if you just have our salad, you're probably getting there already. But whereas in the standard supermarkets, like even with my kids, I'm trying to mix up the plants that we feed them, and yeah, it's difficult. You know, everyone's stressed out, and we're trying to do our best, but you end up just feeding them the same things all the time. And,
So what do you grow? You do quite a few things here. There's the salad, which basically runs through the year, apart from about 4 weeks every January. We have to tell our customers
exactly
nothing's growing. There's not enough sunshine.
So yeah, we do greens all year, apart from like 1 month off. Go on holidays.
It's just
to,
not enough
to
light.
Wales.
It's not even. I thought it was the cold maybe, but it's not. As you said, it's
the
just
light.
it's not enough light.
Yeah, the coals. We've got a good temperate climate here. It's not the limiting. The limiting factor is the light.
Yeah. Because this is something as well. I guess I maybe knew. I never really thought about it. It's like, where do plants get their food from? And you think from, oh, that's why we put fertilizer on the ground for their food. It's like, no. The food is the sun. It's just the complex system underneath the soil where all these microbes break down nutrients.
I went back.
And then the plants excrete chemicals to feed the nutrients. It's like
It's going back to like the basic biology lesson of I looked it up the other day again, because it is like, it's actually really profound.
Yeah. But it also makes sense. Oh yeah, I see. The plant's going to put out some sugar that feeds the microbes, which then excrete this and eat that, and then the plant can absorb it.
It's a symbiotic relationship. So the plants produce carbohydrates from the light.
Yeah.
And then they feed from their roots all the fauna in the soil around them, all the microbes,
billions of little
fungi. And they produce exudates, and in return, what the microbes excrete feeds the plants. So it's this perfect system if you are producing in that way. If you're not just lots of our food is now just grown in solution, so you're not trying to grow it in a system like that. If you do grow it in soil and you have a healthy system, the plants will be more complex, and then the nutrient density will be more complex, and the gut health it gives you will be more complex, and it all joins up.
I can't believe it's been like 10-15 years we've been even discussing this, which is
we probably
so
know
important.
more about space than we do about soil. We're just getting there with actually looking at what's going on under our feet and then starting to look after it.
Because I mean, when we first started doing the restaurant, I discovered the concept of heritage wheat and landrace populations, and it made so much sense. It's like, okay, you have a diverse population of wheat in a field, and then the strong ones survive and the weak ones die. So every year you get a population, and then you have a diversity of the next year because they pollinate each other, so it's not identical. And then it ends up being a population which doesn't require inputs, doesn't require you adding any fertilizers or pesticides or herbicides, because it's adapted to the environment. And then the root systems go really deep, so you don't need to irrigate. And you basically just have a hands-off situation.
They've adapted over centuries to a certain number. In fact, my dad is growing a very ancient wheat on our farm in Wales. I think it was almost extinct. They found it. And they are now producing the seed from it, and year on producing a bit more and more, and trying to save this variety because it's so well adapted, and the diversity within it is
it's not known for its wheat growing, I guess, in middle central Wales. So if you can find something that does grow there,
exactly. Barley is much better a lot of the time, but this wheat, I think it's called. Actually, it's not even wheat. Sorry, it's oats. It's called black oats. That's what they've been saving.
But then we just got to find a market for it, and we're so used to just eating a very narrow idea of food.
Yeah, exactly. That's how much can you do with a pizza?
We're trying. The specials especially, but it's almost just like sneaking it in. Just like having a small portion of it that people don't even realize. That's the thing I always felt about pizza, is like it's the cost of the ingredients is not that great, so you can really go a bit to town on it. And specialize,
and ferments, and interesting.
But hidden under the idea it's just a cheesy pizza at the end of the day.
Exactly. Delicious.
And so the food you produce here, where does it mainly go to?
So most of it goes 12 miles to the box scheme in Hackney, which is Growing Communities box scheme, and then the main restaurant we supply is you.
Still, after all these years?
After all these years, And part of that is just logistics. So there's only me here most of the time. I'm here 4 days a week, and then I have one other person.
Because you're saying you've got enough work for 10 people essentially.
At least,
And you could produce 10 times more food. Well, maybe not 10 times, because it's not.
With the labour, but
Yeah.
what we get paid.
Nobody's
going
to be able to produce as much as you do, but yeah.
Yeah, what we get paid for the food doesn't balance out the labour, so it's difficult because we don't get any
so
subsidies.
Even on the scale.
Yeah, we're like almost at the point of just like breaking even on the food side.
Yeah.
But most farms get half their income from subsidy.
Do we just need to pay more for food?
Well, we should subsidise sustainably produced food, truly sustainably produced food. So we should
even
subsidise.
that is like, surely that just means that food is too cheap, or labour's too expensive. I don't know, what is it?
It should come from the government, I think, to make it affordable.
But then that still comes from somewhere.
True, yeah, but it should be made possible for farmers to produce it in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
And get a fair price back. And at the moment, if you're a market garden that's organic, which is the most sustainable food there is, because it's plants and it's high intensity on a small area, and you're not using pesticides and you're not polluting the environment around you, you don't get any subsidy generally, because it has been done on the size of your farm.
Yeah.
So they're trying to change that. But
is that a uniquely British thing, or is that like worldwide? I mean, are they still subsidising food production, or can they find a way to make it?
I don't know, actually.
I guess Spain and Holland just do it huge quantities efficiently in polytunnels, so that you massively reduce your costs.
Yeah.
But then produce nutritionally deficient food, I guess is the nicest way to say it.
Yeah. Recently we were going to get the subsidy for the public good that we do, because we host lots of school visits. But we just found out.
Children over?
Yeah, we've had 600 children over the last year coming through. But we don't get paid for that at all. I
put them to work, dig some trenches.
No. Yeah, they do. They get involved, which is great.
Yeah.
Their favourite thing is actually pulling out the crops.
That's great, yeah.
But that can be helpful. So the subsidy, I mean, we're also not used to paying that much of the proportion of our income for our food in this country. I think in other countries
it's like 10% here. So
and in the 70s it was much higher.
Like 40,
and then it's
50 in the 60s,
Yeah, so
we
expect food to be relatively cheap, and it's a very difficult subject because obviously food should be affordable, and especially organic food is a bit of a bad rep for being seen as a very elite thing. But if you look at the price of organic potatoes or onions or a lot of the staples, and even a lot of the leafy greens compared to non-organic, it's not always that different. However, in the supermarkets, vegetables are now often treated as a loss leader. So
when I was at Christmas into Aldi and they had bags of sprouts for 8p.
Yeah.
You're like,
and
okay.
that, somewhere down the chain, they are who's growing them? What are they being paid? They're not.
I mean, I have this thing with my place as well. It's like I leave the door unlocked, and the missus is like, "What if somebody breaks in?" It's like there's nothing. We don't have anything worth anything in our. Everything's so cheap. It's like they take the TV that's £200 and it's old anyway. It's like
we're so used to it being cheap and replaceable.
We just want to. We spend our money on loads of consumer goods which don't cost much money, but then when it comes to food, we're like, well, we don't want to spend any money on that either. But that's
and then
surely
people
the
are
most
also
important
really
thing.
strapped. Like a lot of people. We were doing a food program, and a lot of the people that we were supplying needed food that they wouldn't need a cooker to cook.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
if they didn't have enough money to have the facilities and the energy to use it. So a kettle and a microwave. So trying to come up with things that were healthy with those.
It's not even the food; it's the being able to having the knowledge and also having the facilities to prepare it.
So one thing that the growing communities is trialing in Hackney is through procurement. They are getting the food into schools, which is fantastic, because that is a direct way of getting organic, nutrient-dense produce to children who are not necessarily getting this.
Oh, fantastic!
Home. So that's happening in Hackney in a few schools. But again,
should be priority number one for some. Well, maybe not for priority number one for a school, but
called Bridging the Gap.
The difference in being well fed, and being learning.
They've found that it isn't a lot more expensive to use the organic produce to do that. But it's just a kind of mindset thing, or it's like a system thing where catering companies have been contracted, and to break into that with small amounts of things.
5 more years in the contract, I'm afraid.
Exactly. Or they won't take things that have any mud on them. So it's things like that actually have become some of the big barriers, not necessarily the cost, which is very interesting. But
it's almost like a mindset on how important food is, because it's people. I mean, I've kind of got a theory that about 50% of people really just don't taste. They're just not into it.
Well,
so
we've been taught from a young age to like things that are soft and sweet, and it's also biologically in us to, calorie-rich food was what helped us survive, I think, in the past. So we're attracted to those things, but then our palates get shaped by that from a young age, and we go kind of down that line by having soft food and sweet food.
And ultra-processed food companies with big lobbying power.
Because they capitalise on that.
Because they can produce massive quantities of very inexpensive food.
And place it.
Went shopping the other day with the missus took the little one shopping and just said I can just let him pick stuff off the shelf just for shits and giggles. He's got a little trolley. Comes in with crunchy nut cornflakes amongst other things. We said, I'll have a bowl of that. And I'm like, can't believe we fed this to ourselves as children. It's like, it's just like eating sugar. It's like...
And they say
That's delicious.
Fortified with.
I felt terrible afterwards.
And it's a minefield for parents. Like it will say like that's fortified with iron or something like that. So you're like, everyone's so stressed out, and you're trying to do your best, but it's really hard going to a supermarket now and actually working out what's not bad for the environment, what's not bad for your health, what's affordable. It's really difficult.
I have a general rule, which is if it's advertised, you probably shouldn't consume it.
And if it needs marketing, like an apple doesn't need.
Every now and then, like milk will do an advert, but it's for milk, not just a brand.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it's advertised.
Yeah, and the Tullochen, the Van Tullochen brothers, they are doctors, and he's just done a book about ultra-processed food.
Okay.
Chris Van Tullochen, I think. He said if it's in a packet or if you don't recognise ingredients on the back,
it's something your grandmother wouldn't have in the kitchen or something.
Exactly. One way of getting around it is getting a veg box delivered.
Yes, we do a Riverford one.
Yeah.
We should probably do a growing community. I don't think they deliver to us.
Depends where you are.
Yeah.
And growing communities, go for your most local one. Go for an organic one. The trouble with odd boxes, it's great in some ways, but in that it's like using up food that would be wasted. But in terms of the environment or
it's using up food you probably want to eat anyway.
Workers, it doesn't mean anything, and it's very likely to be heavily sprayed food. So get an organic veg box, your most local one that you can access.
We do the Riverford one, and it's great. We do the organic UK seasonal. So sometimes you're like, 12 quid for that. And we're like, oh no, okay, but it kind of forces you to eat it because you're like, well, I've got parsnips and carrots again. Let's make something.
Exactly, soup again.
But then you get some Jerusalem artichokes in January. Like, a little treat, something different.
And they really enjoy the things and they tend to be full of flavour because.
I always find the potatoes are just really flavoursome and like coloured. It's like Folinoid. Is it Folinoids you'd call it? Like with all the goodness in them.
Delicious. Yeah.
The more colour, the better. Is that about right?
Yeah, you're meant to have the phenols.
Polyphenols.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's also in red wine, which makes it good for you.
And chocolate, dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
So, I always count them in my 30 plants. Wine and chocolate.
And I also remember somebody told me that there's 3 food groups. There's things that make you feel good, there's things that make you feel neutral, and there's things that make you feel bad. Work out what those are and eat more of the good and the neutral. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Because like you eat something and it's like a burger for lunch. You're like, that was delicious, and I feel terrible for 2 hours. Whereas something you're eating and going like, this is blah, but afterwards you're like, wow, I feel great.
And if you have like the things that are quickly giving you pleasure but then making you feel rubbish, if you have those a lot, you don't even enjoy them anymore.
But then I guess it's finding that connection. People don't often. I remember being younger and just not seeing the connection between what I was eating and how I was feeling.
We're growing up now.
The best thing I found in recent years was an apple after coffee. So I'd have lots of coffees and then I'd have a piece of cake because I felt a bit down, and then I feel even worse, and I'd have a cigarette, I feel even worse. And I found that after 5 coffees and then an apple, I'm like, clean as a whistle.
Peaches, we've got peach trees at the back of here, and that is the best time of year here. You have a peach, you sit on a chair at the end and the coffee. And it's just
Peach and a coffee.
Peach and a coffee.
Sounds like a perfect combination.
Perfect mornings.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty looking forward to that.
So in terms of the UK food system, as a general, is there any good things you're seeing happening as a, because you were recently at a farm, what was it? The organic farming conference
yeah,
in
the
Oxford.
Real Farming Conference.
What did you find there that was
well, there's
anything
lots of
interesting?
young people coming into it, which is great. However, it's really hard. Like, we need more small-scale horticulture. We need like lots of it, like little islands of it.
For Small Farm Future, there was a guy who wrote a book a few years ago doing something like that.
Yeah. We need lots of people to be producing veg in this kind of small-scale, intensive system. But at the moment, to be viable economically doing this, like the feedback in the market gardeners sessions was really dismal because
they can't sell it. It's just tough to shift. You've got supermarkets with lost leaders.
Exactly. What the system you're competing in, we need to be subsidised somehow.
It's just education at school level, surely.
Yeah, or the government needs to just give subsidy to this type of farming. They were talking about it, and they've taken away the scale rule, but it's still based on your acreage, so it's not worth the paperwork a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because it's what you're given is based on how big your farm is, not.
Do you think subsidies might be the best move forward?
I think at least it should be
At a
fair.
start, just to get in the door, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's the people doing it like in a way that looks after the environment and pays a fair wage. That's the other thing. Growing Communities pays everyone London Living Wage, a fair wage. That should be subsidised in this, as well as
the money should be going there not to subsidise a multi-millionaire's farm who's producing conventional fruits and vegetables which are sprayed with God knows what, and destroying the local habitat.
The scale of our impact should be not just based on our acreage. So apparently the New Economic Foundation did some research saying that every pound spent at Growing Communities had something like, I can't remember the exact amount, it was like £3 something of public good that's given from that. So that's £3 something of like education work, or not polluting the environment, or creating habitats. Or the social positive way that we treat our workers, and that
community being out,
that
and
we're building,
the mental health benefits as well from digging food and growing and being outside.
And I would imagine that's the case for most small-scale organic horticulture enterprises, but that
they just
has not been like recognised, so you just don't get any subsidy generally.
And and just more, I guess maybe not supermarkets, but mid-sized shops taking it up and being like, we're just gonna. Do you supply any retail? Other than like the markets and stuff. Or is it
the
just
box scheme? It's because I have a good outlet that I don't really need to.
And you're only one person with X amount.
Exactly. So it's more about the logistics. I think the demand is there. It's just that there's with more people we could be supplying more here, but until our income balances out our labour, we can't have more people.
What's your thoughts on rewilding?
I think
does that mean anything specifically, or is it just a term that people argue from different sides and would straw man it or steel man it?
I think everyone loves to be on our side at the moment, and I think it makes perfect sense in certain contexts. But it unfortunately.
But what does it mean? I mean, rewilding. Because I'm still not sure. I'm like, hang on, you want to get rid of all food and just let nature take over, or do you want to embrace the environment and produce food out of something where you don't have to control it as much?
Like, people have different extents of of what they believe it to mean. So some people would want to rewild a lot of our farmland for livestock farmland, and create habitats. And there's certain environments where I think it really does make sense. I mean, we need more trees and we need more biodiversity to support our wildlife and insect populations, which are in absolute crisis in this country. I think it's dropped 60% in the last 20 years, our flying insect populations. So it's creating more habitats for them. But it's kind of become a polarized debate between like those who think that you have to have either farmed land or rewilded land, and there's something in the middle.
Yeah, that's kind of, I figured that
so like here,
should be the thing.
Yeah, there's like land sparing or land sharing. Like we try and farm in a way that has space for wildlife, and creates habitats. So
it
you
also
can do
means
both
less work
at
for
the
you.
same time. Yeah, but then it doesn't fit neatly into this category of like we're rewilding under the soil as well. We're creating like great diversity in the soil, as well as above ground. So we're doing both.
We still need food.
Yeah,
and if we don't produce it here, we've got to outsource it.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So we've got to, and we're on an island, and the Sustainable Food Trust have recently done a project looking at different parts of the UK and what it would make sense to grow or raise in terms of livestock in different areas. And also, there are some larger predators or larger herbivores that help rewild systems, but it's about like the density of it.
You need wandering ruminants to kind of stomp and pee and poo and vomit
and that is, there is an issue of like you produce a lot less meat, but we should all be eating a lot less meat,
but much more high quality meat, way less inputs, and way less outputs.
And it does become a lot more expensive, which is that's a tricky thing to face if you're trying to make it equitable and fair and just everyone should be able to access it. But with plants, it's not such a great difference.
So there's the problem. It's like producing meat. We basically hacked a system which has got a very short lifespan in terms of humans. It's just like we can mass produce meat. Why not all sheep? We can't really do, can we? That we've not really. They'll just all die as soon as you start intensively farming them. Whereas
the stocking rates would probably be pushed to the max.
But trying to get, because I guess traditionally you just didn't eat that much meat. You'd have it once. I mean, even just to 30 years ago, you'd have once or twice a week.
You'd use every bit.
Yeah,
of it,
and now we're like all day, every day, you're going to eat meat.
Yeah.
The cheapest kind of meat.
Yeah, and it's that is not. Well, it's not very good for us. So it's not very good for the planet, and it means that. The trouble is the land used to raise the meat, so the feeds to raise the beef, like the soy that it's fed from the rainforests. There's so much land used to produce the feeds for the cheap meat. Yeah, exactly. This is a bit of a gloomy picture.
Well, I've been wrestling with this because I've never been one for emitting meat, because I think the idea of becoming a vegan planet was just we just fall to pieces because we still need that animal input because it is, but we don't really harness it as productive as it could be, where it's like you live in a farm where you have some animals and some vegetables, and it's pretty cyclic. The animals
have a rotation, and the animals are part of it, and they feed.
They produce the input for the soil.
Exactly, and traditionally that's what we would have had, like a rotation of livestock, and there'd be a pulse in the rotation that would fix nitrogen into the ground, and you'd have diversity through the different crops or the livestock moving through the fields. Which just creates a healthy system. Yeah,
because I guess there's examples of farms who are doing that, or publicised are doing it, or written books about doing it. I mean, I don't know what degree it is. I mean, I'm guessing it's perfectly legitimate and it seems like it's doable, but I guess the problem is you can't scale that to the degree that we'd need to replace.
We can't scale it to replace the meat, but we could do it with plants. Okay. Especially if we get our protein from pulses.
More beans.
More beans. There's a brilliant company called Hodemadods.
Okay.
They're looking at what will grow in the UK, and part of the Sustainable Food Trust has been looking at which areas could
more and more as it gets a bit warmer.
More of the proteins, exactly. But we should be eating a lot more protein from plants. And that also gives us the fibre. Yeah. And a healthy diet. Yeah.
What's the time? Are we?
I need to go.
We've got to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Alice.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out here today.
No, I've got a chef and a general manager here as well. I want to have a look around, so it's okay. I want to have a wander around and pick up some vegetables and.
Fabulous. I've got loads of rhubarb actually.
Wicked for our kombucha.
Yeah.
Amazing. Again, thank you.